everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here in our second session about Google Workspace for Education. Great to see some new people here, as well as some of you who joined us last week. Today, we're going to dive even further into some of the awesome features of the 4 editions of Google Workspace for Education that we discussed last week. So if you were unable to join us, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that webinar recording or just review the slide deck just to get a good refresher of each of the 4 editions. So my name is Regina, and I work for a company called TD SynX. And on that team, I am part of the Google Education team, and I specifically am a business development rep for Google Workspace for Education. Before I entered that role, I was a teacher for 10 years. And as an educator, I was lucky enough to teach in a district that uses Chromebooks as well as Google Workspace for Education. So I truly know firsthand just how impactful and how useful these tools really are for our teachers and for our students. And I entered this role with a true passion for helping fellow educators understand how these products can truly transform your classroom. So I'm really excited to be able to speak with you all today. And today's session is designed to get more into the nitty-gritty of some of the features of Google Workspace for Education. So we'll start with a brief review of the 4 editions, and then we'll dive into features that enrich the classroom experience, as well as originality reports, Google Meet and Google Classroom, and end with a security feature overview and allow some time to ask questions throughout. So you'll also hear a few case studies today as well to see how other schools around the world are using some of these editions right now in their classroom. So let's get started with Google Workspace for Education. And as a reminder, under the umbrella of Google Workspace for Education, there are a total of 4 editions. So one edition is free for all qualifying K-12 institutions, and this is Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals, or what was formerly known as G Suite for Education. So if you hear the term G Suite or you're still using that term, that has now been rebranded to Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals. From there are now additionally 3 different paths to upgrade from the free fundamentals environment. So you can see an overview here of Google Workspace for Education Standard, the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and Google Workspace for Education Plus. So Fundamentals offers the ability to collaborate in real time with features like Google Meet, as well as docs, sheets, slides, and sites, and also allows you to communicate easily with Google Meet, Google Chat, and Gmail. So this edition also includes access to Google Classroom, just allowing your teachers to save time managing their classes and managing and posting assignments as well. The first upgrade is called Google Workspace for Education Standard, and this builds on the Fundamentals version, and this is what you might call the Enhanced Security Edition. So it provides advanced proactive security tools that really allow for enhanced visibility, control, and analytics to help make your digital learning environment safer. So this upgrade provides increased visibility and access within your domain to help mitigate security threats using multiple aspects within the security proposition of the admin console. The next upgrade is called the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and this edition offers educators powerful features to enhance communication, enrich instruction, and maintain academic integrity. And the main feature of this edition is that it allows for more functionality within Google Meet than the free version offers. So Google Meet in this edition provides attendance reporting, Meet recordings, as well as live polling and Q&A throughout each session, and something called breakout rooms. This edition also includes an awesome feature called Originality Reports, and we'll talk about all of those features here in just a minute. And the final paid upgrade edition is Google Workspace for Education Plus, and this is considered the ultimate all-in-one edition that includes the full range of Google Workspace for Education premium features, the advanced security features from the standard upgrade, as well as the premium teaching tools from the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and more. And it's also important to note here that Standard and Plus are considered full domain licenses. So all active users on the domain must be licensed. And you purchase these editions by buying it by the student seat count. And staff seats are included free at a 4-to-1 student to staff ratio. And then the Teaching and Learning licenses can be purchased in any amount. So you can purchase those for as many teachers as needed who need the features of that license. So if you still have questions on this, I highly recommend that you go back and watch last week's webinar where we really covered all of the in-depth details of each one of these editions. So moving right along, let's start by looking at ways to enhance learning using Google Classroom and the paid editions. So Google Classroom now includes add-ons that integrate with Classroom, as well as practice sets and roster importing. So let's talk briefly about each one of these. So add-ons are coming soon with Workspace EDU Plus to include partners like Adobe Spark and Edpuzzle and Kahoot and Nearpod and all of these names that you're probably already familiar with and apps that your teachers are probably already using every day in their classroom. So you can see a small video here on the right about how these will integrate with Google Classroom, but I really think this is going to be a huge plus for teachers who are already using these applications to make them work seamlessly with Google Classroom assignments and activities. So rather than having the students log in multiple places, if they're using EDU Plus or the teaching and learning upgrade, they'll now be able to use these add-ons directly in Google Classroom. Another really popular feature of Google Classroom is called roster syncing. So this makes it easier than ever for teachers to save time by automatically populating their classrooms from the student information system that you're already using at the school. So for example, when a new student enrolls and they receive a class schedule and they're populated in whatever student information system you're already using, you can have settings that will automatically add the student to each one of the teacher's Google Classrooms that they are placed in based on their schedule. So this is really helpful to your teachers to help them save time. It avoids them having to give the student a code and have them go in and add the class manually. It will automatically populate them into their appropriate Google Classrooms based on their schedule. So practice sets are the newest feature coming soon for Google Workspace for Education, available for the teaching and learning upgrade and the plus upgrades. And this is going to be a really awesome tool, I think, for your teachers. I'm still learning about it myself, but I really think this is going to be something that is very powerful to integrate in your teachers' classrooms, especially if they're already using Google Classroom every day. And I really wish I had this as a teacher. So what you can think of it as practice sets is that for educators, they're going to be able to use existing content or create sets from scratch, and they can use built-in suggestions from Google Classroom practice sets as well. And they can also enable auto grading for these assignments in the practice sets right within Classroom. They'll get snapshots of student progress on these assignments, and they'll get automated insight of assignment performance trends to see how their class overall is doing. And the students will get immediate feedback as well as access to resources at any time. So when the students complete these practice sets, they'll be able to get guidance with prompts or encouragement or any automated hints that your teacher built into these practice sets. And it will enable students to even show work. So they'll even be able to write out math problem work, for example, and they'll be able to use the built-in resources section as needed with things like skill cards, websites, and video tutorials. And students will also be able to check their answers to see if they're on the right track. So let me show you a brief video of how this is going to look. And I won't watch this whole video with you today, but this will be linked in the slide deck. So I highly encourage you to go in and watch it on your own time if you're curious about these when you receive the slide deck. So let me show you what these look like in action.
Learning. Once teachers create practice sets using existing content or by writing their own questions, our adaptive learning technology identifies the relevant learning skills for each question and finds relevant hints and resources that will be available for students if they need help. With all the typical question types like multiple choice and short answer, practice sets also have a built-in math keyboard and use our adaptive learning technology to enable equivalent answers for robust auto-grading. Teachers assign practice sets in Google Classroom like any other assignment. Students open practice sets right from an assignment in Google Classroom. As they work, auto-grading lets them know right away if their solution is correct, which helps build confidence, keeps them engaged, and prevents one misunderstanding from impacting the entire set. If they don't get a question on the first try, built-in hints help them along. When a student is unsure of where to start, they can open a resources section, which provides recommended videos and concept cards for each learning skill. Additional features include designated space to show their work, allowing them to demonstrate understanding while giving their teacher visibility into their thinking.
So again, I encourage you to go and finish this video on your own when you receive the slide deck. You'll receive the links as well as all the videos built in when you do receive that to your email. So moving on to our next topic, and again, practice sets, really exciting, something I think is going to be very impactful for your teachers. But moving along, our next
Learning
topic
is personal.
is originality reports. So originality reports are included with the Teaching and Learning and Education Plus in an unlimited capacity. So again, if you have the Teaching and Learning upgrade or Education Plus, you receive unlimited originality reports. And if you have fundamentals or the standard upgrade, your teachers receive 5 originality reports per class. So what originality reports do is they allow checks for plagiarism and citation needs within a Google Doc. You can take a look at the live video there on the right and see how it looks in action. But this really just saves so much time for your teachers when they're grading multiple assignments, especially, let's say they have a classroom of 25 English students and they're all turning in 2-page papers. That takes hours to grade, but with the originality reports, the teacher really saves so much time by not having to check everything for plagiarism. So this is in real time, live in front of you, scans the document and shows you instances where the student might have copied and pasted and shows you that link where they pulled it from SparkNotes or Wikipedia or whatever it might be there on the right side. And then if you're using originality reports with EDU Plus or Teaching and Learning upgrade, you can also scan a document against your school-owned repository of previously scanned work. So if you see, so you can see if a student copied work, for example, from a student who was in your English class last year. So if you use originality reports, you've scanned all the documents in your current English class, that saves automatically to a repository that will be scanned against in the future to check for peer plagiarism. And another really interesting thing about originality reports is that if you have this feature turned on for your students with Teaching and Learning or EDU Plus, the students can actually scan their own documents using the originality reports before they even turn it in. And this is great, especially for younger students who really don't understand plagiarism very well quite yet and need to know where they plagiarized or where there might be a citation needed. So moving on to our next topic, Google Meet. If you take a look at the right side of this slide and read through all the enhanced capabilities of Google Meet, these are all included with the Teaching and Learning upgrade and Workspace for Education Plus. So again, these are included with Teaching and Learning and EDU Plus. And you can see a lot of these you may already be familiar with. Some of these are newer, and these were all brought about by feedback from the education world to Google. And this has evolved a lot over time. So fundamentals and standards still include Google Meet, just not all of the enhanced features. So let's look more closely at a few of these. Sorry about that. My dog started barking, had to go make him be quiet. So again, fundamentals and standards still include Google Meet, just not all of the enhanced features that are included in Teaching and Learning and in the Plus upgrade. So let's look at more closely at a few of these that you see on your screen. First is the meet capacity. So Workspace for Education Plus allows for the largest meetings with up to 500 participants. You can have up to 250 participants in the Teaching and Learning upgrade and up to 100 participants in the fundamentals and the standard upgrade. Another newer feature that has proved really useful in the education world is live streaming. So this is available with Teaching and Learning and with Education Plus. And this is a newer popular feature that is really great for things like live streaming an assembly, for example, or an award ceremony, any kind of meetings, PTA or board meetings, sporting events, band concerts, anything that people might want to not be able to be there, but they still want to be able to watch, you could use your live streaming feature for. This can also be used with closed captioning. So if you, for example, have a Spanish-speaking population at home, you can turn on closed captions and have them translated into Spanish in real time while the live stream is taking place. So very useful, lots of capabilities there for that as well. So many of you are probably already familiar with the fact that Google Meet recordings free fundamentals version went away as of January. So Meet recordings are no longer free. They're no longer included in the fundamentals free version. But if you have the Teaching and Learning upgrade or you have EDU Plus, Meetings are automatically recorded and saved, and they're great for sharing with students who missed class or who might be home for an extended period of time for whatever reason. And I know that a lot of teachers miss having those recordings. So if that's you and your school and your teachers, please reach out to your Bloom representative and see if you can go ahead and get some teaching and learning upgrade licenses for those teachers who really need this feature. Another awesome Google Meet feature are breakout rooms. So this is just another really good way to make a Meet feel like a true classroom. And you can take a look at the video to see how easy they are to set up. It's just a drag and drop process where you can randomize the breakout rooms. The teacher can then go through and visit each of these rooms, and then they can close the rooms to bring everyone back to the main Meet. So the teacher can set a timer for the rooms. They can shuffle the rooms at any given time. They can disable or enable the chat feature. Just lots of really great things here to make a breakout room truly feel like a small group learning environment. So another really popular feature for Google Meet is attendance reporting, and this report is automatically emailed to the meeting host after each meet. So you can see what that looks like there on your screen, just a really comprehensive overview of who attended the meeting, what time they got there, how long they stayed, what time they left, if they engaged or not. And this is really useful for those teachers who need to keep track of who is attending each meeting. So polls and the Q&A feature are another great way to make the Meet feel like a true classroom. It really gives students a chance to participate without being called on directly, and it allows the teacher a chance to assess the student's learning and see where more instruction or help might be needed. And you can allow students to ask questions, or you can disable that feature, and as the teacher, you can be the one to pose the questions and require answers. So teachers can even use this as a form of assessment, because they do receive the results of these polls and these Q&A at the end of each Meet. So very useful feature here. And if you're interested in reading a little bit more about using Meets and some of the ways that they can be used, this is a great study from a school in Indiana to see how they're using Meet recordings to connect their students with speakers around the world, bringing into their classroom virtually, and also how they're using Meet recordings to the best of their ability, and to really use those to help students who are falling behind or who might have been absent or who are absent regularly. So switching gears now to one of the most useful features of upgrading your Google Workspace to a paid edition, specifically to EDU standard, are the security and insights to your domain. So I know that security is a top of mind conversation for nearly all schools and school districts today, and this upgrade is really the answer to all of those needs and questions. Google Workspace for Education Standard is all about giving you control and visibility into what's happening within your domain via the admin console. I highly recommend that you attend our third session in the series next week, so you can see a demo of the security features within the admin console and see how they work in real time. So, of course, high-level security features are going to make a lot more sense when you're able to see a demonstration, but you can see here that of how the reporting works and how it looks. So you can oversee your domain activity with instant reports on things like file exposure, authentication, and settings, all within the Security Center dashboard in the admin console. From there, you're also able to spot things like phishing and other spam quickly and take action to remediate those threats. You can even spot any kind of privacy issues that may be taking place within Google Classroom, shut down any Google Meets if necessary, delete phishing emails before they spread to the entire domain, things like that that are absolutely necessary to keep your learning environment secure. And then here's the final case study around the importance of the admin console in helping to keep your domain secure. Highly encourage you to read through this so you can get a better sense of how these security features look in action and how they've helped the district in the past. And I hope this presentation has given you inspiration to go ahead and start looking deeper into what each of these Google Workspace for Education editions can offer you and your teachers and your students. And the great news is that you can try a free trial of each of these solutions before you commit to purchasing. So I recommend you reach out to your Bloom representative to get that started for you as soon as possible. And this slide also includes some really great links to find out more ways that you can use these solutions to benefit your school and your school district. Highly recommend you look over them and also take a look at the guide to using your free trial and how to get the most out of it. And really appreciate you all attending today. Hope that you will fill out the survey and feel free to reach out with any questions you might have and specifically reach out to your Bloom representative. Thank you guys. Hope everyone has a wonderful day.